Hi everyone, let's have a quick chat about your discussion participation. So each week I will post a discussion topic. In syllabus we can see that weekly discussion participation is worth 10% of your final grade. There aren't really any other parameters for this assignment though. For me it's sort of like a participation grade in an offline class and an in-person class. So each week I'll post discussion topics or questions, and your assignment is to just engage with those questions, to offer some responses, to read people's other posts for that particular discussion, to reply to those if you want to. I'm not looking for any specific word count each week, but if you sign in and add a sentence that's 7 words long, it's not going to get you much notice for that 10%. It's really just a complete or incomplete grade at the end of the semester. Did you participate? You can have full marks if you participated every week and offered something to the discussion. If you did sometimes, you'll get part marks. If you didn't at all, it's fairly easy. You get 0. So there are a couple ways to access these weekly discussions. I'll post each one here on each week's schedule. For example, Week 3's discussion topic. So the discussion topic for this week is how do you write? How closely do you think your writing process aligns with the five-step process described in Chapter 1 of the Henderson book? What's the hardest part of academic writing? Which of the steps takes the longest? Any simple tips or tricks you've discovered for making any of these steps easier? So you can just click through to that to see the list of discussion topics for this particular week. And we've had 4 people already submit discussions or submit responses. You can also get to these through just the discussion link here. And so these are all the discussions will be gathered here as they come up. Probably the easiest way is to go through week by week. That way you ensure you're doing it on time. I will close the discussions at the end of each week. I haven't done that yet because I wanted people to sort of get going on it. But if I leave it open, then everyone will sneak in at the end of the semester and add a bunch of random discussion posts, which is kind of against the spirit of the assignment. So let's say we can have a look. So Tasha's offered a response to my writing process. When I write, I always have at least one rough draft. More often than not, I have multiple, etc., etc. Editing, talking about the hardest part of academic writing. That's really nice. The most important tip I can offer is always revise and edit. I absolutely agree. Some people, myself included, often skip this step. Yes, I know, and I can tell. When they're running short on time, I just feel like it's wasted time. It's worth it 100% of the time to double check and shift your thoughts around. Absolutely right. It truly does make a difference. Is that a typo or an intentional error to show the necessity of editing and proofreading? It's a wonderful error, regardless. Another tip that goes with the previous one, take a step back and breathe before revising. Go for a walk, hang out with friends, or look back a day after composing. This is fantastic advice. This is absolutely crucial. You need to find a way to give yourself some distance, we might metaphorically say, from your work. When you're trying to revise your own work, you don't, and you've just finished writing it, you don't end up seeing what you want to say. You end up seeing what you want to say, not what you think you wrote. So maybe you're missing some words, but because you're so familiar with the topic and because you're so familiar with the composition of it, because you've just finished writing it, that as you're reading, you'll actually fill those words in your head, despite the fact that they're not actually there on the computer screen or on the page. Once you've got some distance from your writing, you'll be able to revise it and proofread it much more effectively. People do have some good tricks and tips for how to do this. I find it really effective to read an essay backwards. So start with the last word and read backwards to the beginning to pick out punctuation mistakes or misspelled words or misplaced words. We don't generally spell words incorrectly when we're composing on a computer because Microsoft Word fixes it for us, but we do often include the wrong words. You might have the wrong there or the wrong to, those sorts of common mistakes where the word is actually spelled correctly but it's the wrong word. So reading it backwards can be effective. I had one student who claimed that the most effective way for him to get distance from his text was to read it out loud to himself in a British accent. And it was something about creating the British accent in his head that changed his voice and then made him hear what he had written differently. Another person said they like to sort of read it in public because not necessarily out loud, although reading it aloud in public in a British accent would be pretty entertaining. But just to read in public so that you have some distractions around you sort of takes your focus away from it a little bit and helps you actually see the mistakes that you've made. So lots of good writing tips. If you want to reply to the different threads, you can just click on the reply thing and great ideas. And then we'll submit our replies if we want to. So the discussion is just a way to engage with the various questions and comments I've posted each week, and it'll be worth 10% across the course of the semester. Again, it's sort of like a participation score. I will close each discussion at the end of each week, so make sure you do participate as the semester continues. As always, let me know if you have any questions or comments or concerns about anything.